Nick Cannon's long-looking ass couldn't name all of his kids. When you get to the point where you don't know all of your kids' names, perhaps you have too many kids.
So Nick Cannon is on fire, and everybody's calling him out for not knowing his children's name. Let's get into it. Hey, beautiful people, how you all doing today? It's your girl Destiny here, and welcome to my channel. How have you all been? Hope you guys are doing great. So Nick Cannon is on fire, hot fire. And people are dragging him on social media. So Nick Cannon went for an interview with Bob, the podcaster. And is it Bobbie? Yeah, I think Bobbie. Yeah, I don't know why I said Bob. Bobbie. And Bobbie asked him, like, you know what, why do you want so many children? And he was like, oh, I have a king complex. And she went on to say, do you know the names of all your children? And you could clearly hear Nick Cannon say that, oh, I get into trouble about that. Meaning that is not the first time this is happening. He had been asked this before and he failed it. But this is the one we're saying. So she asked him, okay, can you name your children? And Nick Cannon went ahead to like, okay, I'll try. And he went ahead to try to name all his children. He could only name 10 of them out of 12. He forgot two of his children's name. And this has struck a big conversation about Nikano going ahead to have so many children and yet still cannot remember the children that he has, their names. Anyway, guys, let's go check out this video, people's response to it, and then we'll come back and talk more.
Why do you have so many kids?
Why do I have so many kids? I have a king complex.
You have a what?
A king complex. I was like, you know, as black men, we always be like, yo, what's up, king?
Okay.
I'm a king. I really think I'm a king.
So you need to have, do kings have a lot of kids?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? That's how they court. They
have
enlarge
all
their
of them?
territory. That's why.
What are their names?
You want all 12?
12 names. Go.
All right. This is where I usually get in trouble.
Why? Because you don't know all of them.
I know all of them, but
Okay.
like, all right, well, here we go. I'll label off for you. See, let's keep me honest. There's rock, roll, golden, powerful, rise, onyx, legendary, Zion, zillion, zen, and see, this is where how many?
You're missing 2.
I'm missing 2.
Nick Cannon not being able to name every single one of his children is not a shock to me. He went on an interview with Bobbie, and she said, can you name all of your kids? He goes, well, can you name 12 of something? These are your children. And compares it to naming states. When the mother of his children came out and said he does not see his kids, meanwhile, all the men on Twitter talking about it's a man's right to create children. You realize how dumb they sounded. He takes care of his kids financially. That's all that matters. He can't name them. I will say, he did come out and say he was diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. That's why he has this inflated sense of self. That's why he feels like he deserves to have that much control and power over those women. Now, I'm not minimizing their involvement in it either. To be somebody's 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th baby mama is crazy work. And not to hit below the belt. One of his children actually passed away, unfortunately. So you would think a man like that, who lost a child, which is a love like no other, actually spend time with his other children, learn about them, and at least know their names. That interview confirmed everything I needed to know about that man. It's not just disrespectful, it's disappointing.
Nick Cannon's long-looking ass couldn't name all of his kids. When you get to the point where you don't know all of your kids' names, perhaps you have too many kids. Bobbie asked him, why do you have so many kids? He said, I have a king complex. I feel like a king. I'm a king. You're corny. When he was on Drumline, I used to think that man was too fine. Girl, this man is so cornball. The thing is, he's still pretty young. What is he, like 40 something? He's going to have more kids. He's going to accumulate more baby mamas. Like, why is he collecting kids and baby mamas like they infinity stones? This is deadbeatism. I don't care how much money you're supplying for those kids. You're not there for those kids. If you have 8 baby mamas, there's no way that you can give adequate time to each child. Mostly because the moms are in different places. There's no way you could be in all those places at the same time. It would maybe be a little bit better if they were all by the same mom, but still with that many kids, there's no way that you're giving each kid the attention that they need.
Did anyone else see that interview that Bobbie Althoff did with Nick Cannon where she sits him down and they talk about him having 12 kids? And she asks him, can you name all 12 of your kids? And he does a fairly decent job. He names 10 out of the 12. But we're talking about children. Like, those are your kids, you're their father, and you can't name all 12. That's wild. And we're just talking about naming. And he's sitting down, and he has to have known that she was going to ask him that question. So he didn't do anything to prepare to name all 12 of his children. He also says he has a king complex, and he said kings have lots of children. And I can't speak to whether he's saying historically or just kings all around the world, but it's impossible to just think about one of the most famous kings who was recently put on the throne, King Charles, who only has 2 biological children that I know of. So 2 compared to 12, that's a big difference.
With Nick Cannon, but not remembering 12 of your kids' names, or all 12 of them, is crazy. Sorry. Don't give a shit. And right after Father's Day, he was like, rattle off 12 of anything. Just 12 of anything. And like, as if it's like, oh, this is some hard feat to do. It's some school teachers today, right now. They got 45 kids in their class. They know all of their kids' names by heart. In fact, them school teachers 20 years ago still know their students' names. Stop playing, bro. It's even some high school teachers who not only have their class, but they also have other classes that come to for their period, and they still know all the kids' names. It'd be like 30 a class. It'd be like 30 a class, and they still could list all the freaking kids' names, bro. You don't know your own children's names. How? Are you not the one who named them?
Exactly.
And even if you're not, like, at least you signed a birth certificate or something, bro. You don't know your 12 children, bro. And his whole thing was like he wants to have a legacy and his dynasty, you know what I'm saying, this and that, you know what I'm saying, passing on his name and yada yada. But you don't know your kids. It's no more excuses for you, my guy. It's no more excuses for you. Sorry.
TikTok. So I'm here to talk about that Nick Cannon video where he did an interview with, I think it was Bobbie, if I ain't mistaken. I really just skimmed past it, I ain't gonna lie. But he was being bashed because he couldn't name all 12 of his kids' name. Now, don't get me wrong, he did make a point when he was telling her, like, oh, who got 12 of anything? Let me hear you name 12 something. She couldn't, well, that was weird, but she didn't name 12 states. But this the part that got me is, Nick, you should know those kids' names. Them your kids. So if I was the mama and as them kids got older, they gonna be real upset when if that video surfaced, which it will. But the part that get me is because I work a job, I work a 9 to 5. Even on TikTok, I can literally name, and I work in a hospital, so I could literally name 12 employees that I work with. So I feel like if I can name 12 employees, Nick, you should know all 12 of your kids' name. I can name 12 people on TikTok that I met since I've been on TikTok. So, Nick, that's the excuse, bro.
Nick Cannon is in an interview with Bobbie, and she asks him, hey, why do you have a lot of kids? And he says, I have a king complex. And then she says, well, can you name all kids? Like, can you say their names? And he forgets 2. He says 10 out of the 12, he forgets 2. I don't care how the baby mama feels. How would the child feel? As someone who grew up with his dad in and out of jail, in and out of my life, the fact that I know what it is to receive a promise from my dad that I'm coming to get you, I'm coming to see you, and he wouldn't come around. At least he knew my name. At least he knew my name. And this is why I believe in having a monogamous relationship, one wife, one marriage, you know, one household with, and I come from a home where My mother had a divorce. My mother remarried. And so I'm not, judging anybody. I'm just saying what I prefer for my life. And when I see situations like that, I think it further, to me, drives the importance of how hard is it for you to have one significant other, one marriage, one home, where they're all from the same individual. And if things for some reason or another don't last, don't last, why not just get a vasectomy? Multi-millionaire, like multi-billionaire, multi-millionaire. Like, you have enough resources. I'm not talking about just him. I'm talking about any individual. Like, just go get a vasectomy. I've seen guys who are bald get tattooed hair. I've seen guys do a hair transfer where they move it from the back to the front. You could waste money on that, but you can't invest money in saying, you know what? I don't want to have kids outside of wedlock, and I sure don't want to have 7, 8, 9, 12 baby mamas. Let me invest the money on a vasectomy. Take a couple weeks, recuperate, good to go. Save yourself the headache and the lifetime, and surely the embarrassment of forgetting to name two of your 12 kids. Eventually they'll see that video and they'll be like, hey, great, my dad can remember all the people's names, but he can't remember mine.
That's fact. Let me know what you think about this conversation, as Nick Cannon not able to remember all 12 children's name. Go down in the comment section and share your thoughts. I'd love to know what you think. But as always, keep it respectful. You're on this channel, we're allowed to disagree, but we'll do it in a very respectful way. So go ahead, feel free, share your thought. For me personally, coming from a household where we are plenty, my dad has about, if I'm not mistaken, 20 kids. And I will tell you that my dad knows, he has his own issues, but my dad knows the entire 20 kids that he had. I remember there was a time we did this thing where we asked him to name everybody, and he did it. And he said there's a pattern in how he remembers everybody's name is by knowing the mothers. He picks the mother and then name every child that mother has. So Nick, that is a tip for you. Maybe that's how you should run it. But hearing a man that wants to be polygamous and bringing a lot of children into this world, doing things like this, and still cannot, that just showed you that not because you can have kids, that does not mean you should have kids. A lot of the time, people usually think that if a man can provide financial support, that means he's present in the child's life. If a man can come 1 hour and play kumbaya with the child, that means the man is a present father. No, it takes way more than that. Imagine a child that you consciously gave birth to, you don't know the child's name. And people are like, oh, you could forget. No, you could not. I'm saying it. My dad has 20 and he could remember all 20 of us. We did it when we were kids. We did it with him, and he could remember all 20 of us. So there's no excuse. That just shows how unimportant this children is. It's almost like talking about how is a king complex. What about a king complex by changing the world? What about a king complex by touching other people's life and improving other people's life and improving the society and the world that you came in? What about that? But no, you want to leave the legacy of traumatized children that will know that their father cannot remember all 12 of them, that their father was not present emotionally and spiritually and mentally for them. Rather, he was there financially. As much as we're giving the canon the old slack for this whole thing, the baby mamas, they should come here. Because I don't understand how you're seeing a man that has a king complex and then you're going ahead to have a child with this man. A man that has openly talked about how he has a narcissist, he has been diagnosed with a narcissistic order. You went ahead to have a child with that type of man. As much as we throw away the word, oh, he's a narcissist around on the internet, this man has boldly said it that he has been diagnosed with it. And yet you went in there, you bust it wide open, and then you said, oh, this is the seed I want to bear. Because of what? Money? Not thinking or putting into consideration how much damage that would do to the child. And then you get people. I did a story time on you. I think I'm going to post that video. I did a story time on TikTok on how I got to this place where I am child free. And you're hearing people ask me, what if your husband decided to go have a child? Then he should go. A lot of women put themselves in situation that they have no business with. I know somebody will say, oh, Destiny, this is victim blaming. Oh, why are you blaming the women? I feel like I said in one other video, we've already established, I think it's the man of the year trend. We have already established that this man, Nikanon, is a But yet, women are they're still dealing with him. They're still interacting. They're still engaging. Because of what? The fact that this man is trying to compare his children with other things. Even those of us that have so many cousins, we can call their names. Like the other creator said, there are teachers that know 30, 50 children in their class by heart. Like they say it's piece of cake. That's because they are invested in the life of those children. But Nick, no. Nick just wants to be Nick. Well, anyway, my heart goes out to those children, and I hope the mom will be able to fill in the gap and the shoes of the lack of emotion and investment from their father, honestly. Anyway, guys, go ahead and share your thoughts. Love to know what you think about this story, this drama down in the comment section. But as always, keep it respectful. Share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's what we do here. We have banging conversation. So go on and share this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push up my content for more people to see. And that'll be you supporting this channel and this girl here. So go on and do that. Subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Deuces.